Hello, everyone. Today is INGED 2021 Concurrent Session 3, Room 1. We have Defne Akıncı Midas, and she will deliver her talk on using polls and breakout rooms in online meetings to enhance participant involvement. The floor is yours, Defne hocam.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll try to keep to the time. So, hi everybody. I'll just jump into the topic. I hope to show you how to use polls and breakout rooms, two of the features that are built in Zoom. I said Zoom, but actually these exist in many other platforms as well, like WebEx. I keep using WebEx because in our institution, they started to use WebEx and I learned things on WebEx. We moved to Zoom. I had to relearn things. Some of them were similar, some of them were not. So I'll mention a few things as from my experience. These, of course, pertain to online teaching, but, if we move to, or if and when, or those who've already started blended learning, they might still continue to use these. So I thought again, if you haven't done so, or if you haven't thought of certain ideas, maybe you might benefit from these. So my purpose is to share two things. One, the technical sides of these, as much as I know, though, I'm not just practicing teacher. I'm not a technician, so I might encounter problems, but I'll try to solve the way I do with my students, because that's reality, isn't it? And share the possible ways to use these productively and meaningfully in ELT classes. I mean, it's okay to learn the technical side, but then sometimes you do them and then all the beauty disappears. I mean, in training sessions, we say, yeah, great, wonderful. And then you say, why did we just bother? What's the hassle? Anyway, let's move. I'm clicking. I'm going to jump into the idea of interaction. Why are we trying to keep interacting with our students? Well, when I check the meaning in just Google, and you don't have to just see the dictionary. It means reciprocal action, two-way influence or communication or direct involvement with someone or something. So what do we want is to be able to get in touch with our students, or for the students to be actively involved with language. Interaction is key. So how are you going to do it? You can do it through getting them to interact with content when you're doing an online environment. You can get the student to interact with the teacher. Of course, teacher talking just like I'm doing now doesn't count. It has to be both ways. There's got to be some kind of answer, question, response, or some other thing. And more importantly, students interacting with other students, preferably using English, hopefully. And that's when I'll get to the breakout rooms. So usually, actually, this is what they look like. They're either looking at, I don't know if that counts as interaction, looking at the teacher, listening and nodding if you can see their faces, or they're touching things and showing and working with other students. This is probably a breakout room. Here we see a more active kind of student. So let's see why to use the main features. Why am I not talking about the poll everywhere, some other gimmicky stuff? They're great, wonderful. Well, sometimes they require subscription. Sometimes, there are Google Forms and other stuff. They have the foreign origins, and some institutions don't want to use them, and you don't want to go and become subscribed to so many of them. You find yourself trying to remember your passwords all the time. You're sending the kids, they can't go in. Teacher, I couldn't go in. It's, if you're limited in this way, I myself, I'm fed up really. I use only two outside things and nothing else. So it's best to use whatever there is in there. So I picked two very common ones. But still, if you want to use polling, still it looks for subscription. Your institution may be a subscriber, and the terms and conditions may have a role in there, but most of the time they allow you to use it. So polling online. Polling is giving your votes, right? Giving your votes to something. It could be multiple choice, you can, or true, false. You can choose your answer, just one answer. You can pick a few answers. In the end of it, it'll show you how many people said A, how many people said B. They can have a graph at the end of it. It's very simple to create, but a few steps. You can even add picture or pictures, audio or video. That's what I was trying to say there. I suppose I'm talking about this mistake here. You can get students involved immediately, get results immediately, show results immediately, use the results, or get the students to use the results immediately. It's just 5 seconds. Save the results to use later on, which is something I love because I reuse them. Use the polls for a variety of purposes in ELT classes. This is the best thing because you're investing your time and energy to learning something as a teacher, and you want to use all this for a variety of purposes. So, tips, what I learned, how I learned. There are numerous simple, very detailed tutorials online. You can have a look. If you don't like it, skip that one, go on to another one. Attend webinars. If you like them, ask for the video, watch over and over again. I have had to watch a few tutorials. Why? I forgot certain details. We are human beings. We keep learning new things. So take notes. The details may be important. Watch another tutorial if you've forgotten how to do it. Try these out alone and with students or maybe colleagues as volunteers before the session or before your lesson to look for the platform. The look of the platform may be different from the way you're working alone. I'm going to show you in a minute. Than when they attended, there may be some differences that you may not have thought of before. These students or your colleagues may help you along the way, especially students. I love my colleagues, but the students are just really great. They will help you along the way. And you need to get rid of the nerves of being watched and scrutinized and think of what if it doesn't work? Well, that takes me to this. What if it doesn't work during the session or during the class? Well, have a plan B. This happens in the classroom as well. So we have to have a plan B. And then after the class, we're going to work on it. Why didn't it work? And then the next time it'll work. So always have a plan B, even if you're very, 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 I can't emphasize that, sure of yourself because of one reason or another. So do not give up. It's really worth learning these. Try again and again. So I'm clicking, it's not going. All right, so what do we do? In order to work on polling, I learned that you've got to be the host, because what you're going to do is to work in your own Zoom account, first of all. What you have to do is, here, for example, if you go down in the toolbar below, or for some of you, it's above now, it's you can see participants, the chat icon and emojis, and I can see annotate or this or that, but I don't see polling because it's not been allowed or enabled. So what you have to do as a host, since I'm not the host here, I didn't ask them to do it. I just wanted to share with you what it would happen if you're not the host. You can't prepare it. So if you're the host, you have to prepare it and it'll be there. So enable polling on Zoom so that you have it on your toolbar in Zoom. How to do it? How to enable polling on Zoom on your account. Go sign into the Zoom web portal, which looks like this. I'm going to go really fast because you can watch these over and over again and get used to it. Find settings here. Go in meeting basic and you'll see meeting polls and quizzes. I turned it on. Okay. And then I felt, okay, that's the reason. And once you save that, you're going to have the item polls down below. And you're going to click on create. You're going to write it here. Okay. And create your poll. It's best to create your a poll with a title. If you leave it as such, it's going to show as such in the classroom. And put your question here and your choices. And here is a menu that shows you the kind of choices you would like them to have. You can have one choice, like 4 items, just one choice that's possible, or a few choices. You can ask them to, pick two. You can say pick 4, whatever. It depends on your activity. And of course, as you click here, you can add a second question and a third question. You can throw it away. And here, there's other alternatives. Let me show you. If you click on there, it tells you whether you want to allow participants to answer the questions anonymously. This is important because you might want them to answer anonymously. You might not want them to answer anonymously at certain times, depending on your what you want them to do. So this is my question, ELT and polling. This is my title. Have you used polls in your classes up to now? Would be a nice question. And it says single choice here. So you would have to say never, once. I didn't like the idea, many times. And you would know that you would have single choice. So I can see what the others are going to see, and I'll click save. Oh, this is the second question that I created. The presenter looked well prepared, as if she, you can have multiple choice here, so they can say, well prepared, but very slow. You can have 2, 3 questions. See, as you move, it'll show the second and the third question in single choice, multiple choice, different types of questions on top of each other as well. So once you've finished, see, I created the untitled poll, the speaking feedback, experience in writing in English was the third one. You can see because it was below the screen. And I'm still here in Zoom, my own setting area. I created 3 of them. So now they are in my meeting area. I created a meeting for this. And now you see in my page, Zoom room, I can see this. It appeared because I enabled it and I created a poll. So during your session, the session that you created the poll for, you start the session and you're going to click on the polls, give instructions, click on the polls, and it'll show you the first one. And you'll wonder what happened to my second and the third one. They are here. Oops, easy. Okay, they are here, but I'll show you, it explains more. This is not how what the others see. This is what you see as you're getting prepared. You can say launch and they'll see it and they'll start to answer. You can edit poll to change things that you just notice or say, let me change that and maybe put a title here. I don't know. And once you launch it, the others, your audience will see it, give their answers, and you'll see there's a timer here and one question. There's, the 3 items here, how many of them actually responded. You can all see, and when it goes 100%, I don't have it because I was very much lonely here. I can't tell if it's working. That's why I recommended that you should be working with another person or a teacher or something, because you want to be sure, don't you? As teachers, we don't want to feel horrible, in class. So please take this advice, work with somebody, or start the class early, the session early, start with the people who come early. That's another option. And you can just end the poll. Oh yeah, we were just like vampires. Yes, I don't know, John. Have you used polls in your classes, etc.? See, you can, when you go to this 3-dot thing, you can as the person launching the poll, you can relaunch it if there's been a mistake, if half the students weren't there, something, electricity, the connection was lost, whatever. You can relaunch the poll, but you lose the first results. You can download results, which is beautiful. View the results from a browser, and you can still edit the poll. Oh, here it is. It shows the untitled poll, the speaking feedback and experience. So as you click on these, the other polls will come in. So it's at the top, you'll see the menu. All right. Since we don't have that here, you see, always keep in mind you have to be the host of the meeting in order to do that. If you're going to be a guest like this one, it would be better to either, if you can, arrange it. If not, this is an international conference, it wouldn't be appropriate to ask for such a minute thing, or it might have changed everything for everybody. So I didn't want to do that. What you can do is to use an external poll. Polls everywhere are very simple polls. Since I don't want to share that here, I'm not going to show that. But please keep that in mind. Now, what if you're not the host? I just said it, but you just want to do it. You're not the host, you just realize, oh my God, no polls are not there. What am I going to do? You can ask them, the question in the chat box. Now, ask your students and everybody else, I'm asking, have you used polls in your classes? If your answer is never, write A in the chat box. Would you? I see a 1 in 29. Okay, if you have used once, but you didn't like it, write B in the, there are more A's. You see, they're going quick. There are 4 A's. I want to see B's. You've used once, but you didn't really like it. All right, I counted to 10 as wait time. C, I've used many times and I actually like it. Write in the chat box. No, never used. I have 28, but very few responses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are the others doing? You're caught. So in the classroom, you can see how many people are actually actively following your lesson and incorporating, or they might not have understood what you asked them to do. I know. Just, turning this into a classroom situation. I'm not really saying anything about you. They might be multitasking. That's okay. But you might want to give instructions again to ask them to turn on their cameras and say, hey, oi, tell me the answers. Or you can ask them to use emojis. My classroom likes emojis a lot because, chat box can be a little, I don't know, they just hit emojis very quickly. So I says, if tick on, you can ask them to click on thumbs up if you've used many times and you liked it. And you count the thumbs, in the cameras, in the floating camera situation. And then ask the others and count, put them all together. And it should, if you want one answer from each person, it should count up to 28. So there is a possibility of using other things. These inbuilt things like chat box and emojis, I keep using all the time. And I attach meanings to them. And if I find that the polls don't work, I'm all fingers and thumbs and something is wrong, the students don't want to do it, I do these. So this is, instead of this, you would have this, for example, never, a crying face, once, thumbs up, many times, applause. And you make it, try to see everybody at the same time and count. You can ask the students to count. Ahmet, count nevers. Mehmet, count the others. And you can use it that way. So uses. So that you've done it. It was so very quick. What have I gained? You can ask the students to give peer feedback. If you train them well, you can ask them to give peer feedback on speaking performances. Once you create these polls or your questions, they'll be so used to it. So group performance, group A finished, all the students will give feedback. Group B finished, all the students will give feedback. You'll be using the poll over and over again, but you've got to train the students. I wouldn't keep it anonymous in this case because they keep saying weird things. Yeah, you can also use the results to prepare materials. Absolutely. You can create mini quizzes, mini tasks early as a warm-up, icebreaker, or review towards the end as a cooler, vocabulary review, vocabulary quiz, reading. You can put up a reading text and say, this is the question and there's a timer. I want the scanning. Scanning is done in a short time. The answer is going to disappear and you want to see how many people are actually doing. You can do it while listening. You have to try it with somebody else though, because you have to operate too many things at the same time. You can ask them to spot an error, put a sentence, which is the error, and the options are endless. Get students to use the data in their writing or respond to the results. They can say, okay, these are the results of the classroom. What do you think? Are you surprised? Are you this? Are you that? Give me a reason as well. One sentence per student, enter them in the chat box, and you will ask everybody to do that. You can put pre-reading questions, a prediction task, post-reading discussion questions, not evaluation, but, you can see the tendencies and then say, oh, I see. Now let's have, if it's too balanced, for example, pros and cons, I don't know, two sides of thing. If you see 50-50, you can have a great debate in the classroom. It gives you a lot of grounds for a debate because everybody has a side, right? Student feedback for teacher activities. What do you think about the lesson? But not just what do you think, but you have probably in your certain ideas. What about my instructions? Were my instructions clear, unclear, too long? You can click more than one. So there are so many uses. Polls are not just there for polling. In seminars, we just, the only question I encountered was, where are you from? Or what kind of institution are you coming from? Because the speaker was trying to hone the presentation for the particular audience. But in this case, we can just use and perhaps even abuse this very simple thing, but preparation is key. All right, so that was polling. What about breakout rooms? Breakout rooms are great areas for students to get together and communicate and do things, and how we can, and we have breakout rooms here, but I want to make sure we finish the talk and questions, and we can try out. I'm scared about time, so I'll just go through. The thing is, here again, it has to be enabled. Right in the beginning, the breakout rooms have to be enabled, and you should be able to see the breakout room option here. But what happens is, as a teacher, once you click on it, it'll just come out. So you have to try out how this works. The first time I did it, I didn't understand this number because it says create breakout rooms here, but on another platform it was sessions. How many sessions do you want to create? I said, well, I would just want one session. Well, how can I have 3 sessions? But I didn't understand. So all the students went to other room, 20 of them, and I had to wait for them to come back for 10 minutes. So I turned around and said, well, please discuss this all together. It was terrible. We lost 10 minutes. So, well, it was 10 minutes. Had I done it 30 minutes, I would have lost it. I clicked on the things to stop, but it didn't stop. It went on and on and on. I panicked. So prepare and learn not to panic. That's the thing. Here, create 3 breakout rooms. If you have, for example, let's say, we're down to 24. So we can have 8 people per class per room if we have 3 breakout rooms, you see. So you have to do the division right beforehand and think if it's a discussion, 2, 3, maybe 4 is okay, but 8 is too much, and think accordingly. I generally assign automatically. You can assign manually, where when you click on that, you'll see the names, and you'll push and put the names under certain groups. I haven't tried this. Let participants choose room. I've never heard anybody try it, because what happens is there are popular students and unpopular students, and I wouldn't have that happening in my class. So once you say create, it'll create something like this. Of course, now we don't see names. Normally you would have names. You can even change the names. You can add a room. Don't open all the rooms immediately. Have a check and look at the options. Oops, I opened it. Look at the options, and I don't allow participants to choose room at all. Unclick this. Allow participants to return to the main session at any time. Yes, because sometimes they want to ask you questions and they feel so alone. Automatically move all assigned participants into breakout rooms. Yes, because they don't go sometimes. They just wait around in the main room. Breakout rooms close automatically after 30 minutes is the default. Change this according to your task. Whatever task you're working on, you're going to get them to work on. And countdown after closing breakout rooms is always very useful, because it flashes in front of them as well, and they know when to stop and when the meeting will stop and they will come back. And once you click on, oops, it was in the open all rooms, they will just go, and you can broadcast a message and they will just hear a sound, and it's spooky. I usually join room 5 because suddenly they hear a voice and say, what's going on? I can't see the teacher, kind of thing. So I generally join rooms in about 2-3 minutes, and each room, and I say, is everything okay? Is everything? The thing is, you go in and they're speaking in Turkish, and suddenly they turn to English. So it's always a good idea to go into rooms. And in one room, they said they couldn't disagree on the topic. And when they told me, I understood they misunderstood everything. So it was a good idea to direct them to the right place and then go on to each room. And then, of course, once you go there, you can come back and leave them to themselves. If you want them to use English, you have to set up the task accordingly. And if they get used to being visited by the teacher, they will use English. Tips. This is my tip. Establish rules very clearly from the beginning and make it a regular thing. Give instructions very clearly. The students should know what they need to do when they get back, because the students get back and then the actual lesson starts, right? And when the group work finishes. I usually assign a spokesperson. So everybody has a job in the group, and once they get used to that, the ball rolls. If the breakout room does not work for some reason, plan B. It didn't work. Something happens. It's technology. Use an alternative. If you have a WhatsApp group, you ask A, B, and C to get together and set up a WhatsApp group, B, C, and then discuss online if that is absolutely necessary, if you can't do it any other way. Or cancel, move on to the, maybe just open the floor and discuss all together. So breakout rooms, alternatives are harder to find. Where and how to use rooms? We're everywhere, particularly group discussion. One fear is that they don't use English, but you have to be around all the time and tell them what to do, how to use, and how to report, and what to report. Preparation for a presentation or debate. Brainstorming for writing, speaking, even checking answers to questions on reading, listening. Give them you have 3 minutes to check the answers and discuss among yourselves. They can use Turkish if they want. And when you get back, I want the results. You can add more to these. Summary. The inbuilt apps and features are really useful, but don't forget that they might not run the way as smoothly you planned beforehand. Please have plan B. Don't be disheartened. Try again, because they can be really handy. And we need to try and find example ways as well as tips for getting out of difficult situations from friends. I attend all the webinars I can find, and I listen to all the tips that my friends and colleagues actually just say. I don't say I've learned it, because you learn in Zoom. In WebEx, you're a newbie, because the system is a bit different. Well, I just ran through. This is me, and I'm at the Middle East Technical University, not Easty, Technical University. I'm also on board in INGED. Thank you very much for listening. And any questions or
Thank
comments?
you so much, Defne Hocam, for this fruitful session. Maybe we can switch to the chat for the questions.
Some ideas, results to prepare materials, absolutely, yes. Wallahi, we're here, I'm sorry. But see, there's only A's. So not many people used these. Please try. Once you try them, you get used to it and say, let's do something else. Let's take more risks. All right, thank you very much then.
Thank you, Defne Hocam.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I would like to thank you all for your attendance. Let me introduce myself and my colleague briefly. I'm Hayriye Ulaş Taraf, and I work as an English instructor at School of Foreign Languages at Necmettin Erbakan University. And my colleague Eda is an assistant professor in the department of ELT in our institution, in our university again. And today we would like to introduce you some shortcuts. But first, I kind of want you to try to make predictions about what we mean with that phrase, with that expression, shortcuts. For your predictions, to share your predictions, can I ask you to click on this link? I'm going to share the link with you from chat box, if I can find it now. Yeah, I found it here. Or you can also, just a sec, you can also use your camera or Google Lens to click on the link. I'm trying to share, but I couldn't from the chat box. No, what's the problem?
Oh.
Can you see the message? Can you see the link? No?
No, I can't see it.
It's frozen, I think. Just a sec. I will try again. Okay, that's okay now.
Yeah, okay.
So, if it is possible, could you try to click on the link and you will open a wall from Padlet, a kind of application, a web tool we are going to employ in our session for writing. Let me go through the link. Let me show that page. You can see the screen of the wall, and here is a pink circle on the corner. You can click on that pink circle on the corner, on the right corner, and then you can start writing down. I want to hear just your predictions, what we mean by shortcuts. A couple of people are writing down, I guess, getting something by the shortest way. Yeah, that's a good answer. Thank you for that. Some apps, yes, programs, yeah, to decrease the workload of teachers, right? During the process of writing, good. More people are writing down, I think. We can see the people here. Some ready-made, yeah, structures. Not actually, I'm not going to provide some language, but I'm going to let the students find such kind of phrases, such kind of language easily on, let's say, the internet maybe. Maybe we can also deal with some problems, but not actually. The first two answers are right. I'm going to try to provide you some shortcuts to applications, to web tools you can easily find on the internet, on the web. Let me go back to the presentation. Sorry. Yes, here. Just a sec. Let me start the presentation from the beginning. Okay. Yes, as you said, we are going to provide you some shortcuts to online tools, to online applications you can easily use on the internet to support your students and yourself throughout the writing process. And before dealing with the questions of what and how, I mean, what tools can be used and how they can be used, I would like to answer the question of why we should use those applications, those tools. I will try to keep it brief. And as you know, we are all faced with the, let's say, fact that we need to get involved in learning environments, online learning environments, and we need to get involved in increasing digital communication. And in this century, we are confronted with the tasks beyond traditional paper and pencil writing. And usually we face with the tasks of, let's say, writing on social media or writing on blogs and completing online forms and documents. We are also engaged in collaborative writing for projects. And also we can create some digital stories on the web. That's why we need some applications, technologies for writing as well. And such applications, such technologies help us play and experiment with the language and communicate with, let's say, people for authentic purposes, and they can have a chance to write collaboratively, and we can learn about maybe mechanics of writing, and we can learn about how to, let's say, edit and revise our work by means of these tools. And in this way, we can promote our self-efficacy, and so we can promote our self-regulation skills as well. And it will eventually contribute to learner autonomy. And we can make use of digital tools for a variety of purposes, from planning to, let's say, production. We can make use of those tools to brainstorm, generate ideas, and for question answer sessions, or we can design just graphic organizers like mind maps, timelines, Venn diagrams, and we can, let's say, maybe keep some portfolios online, or teach our students to keep portfolios online. They can also keep their journals, diaries, and blogs online. And we can create a class blog or diary as well. And as I said before, we can allow students to work collaboratively and write collaboratively, and we can ask them to produce a digital story for, let's say, their writing purposes. And through these tools, they can easily edit the content of their work, and they, let's say, peers or teachers can easily provide some online feedback for them. And let me talk about what those tools are. Actually, here is a list of the tools. I'm going to try to show how we can use them. But there are so many technologies, as you know, there are so many, let's say, tools for L2 instruction or L2 writing. What we try to choose, let's say, more effective ones based on our experience in the classroom. And especially we try to choose the ones which have Chrome extensions, because they are really shortcuts. They are showing the way, let's say, they are showing how to edit, how to revise, let's say, how to paraphrase, how to translate in a shorter time than you can do them through maybe applications, through just maybe you can use the website itself. And for that, you should first add those applications as Chrome extensions. For that, you should go through this website. Actually, when you Google Chrome extensions, you can easily find that website as well. And here you can look for the word, for example, Grammarly, let's say. And as you see, this is already added to my Chrome extensions. And you can see here the list of Chrome extensions I'm using now. This is next to the, let's say, search, how can I say here, search tab, search, let's say, bar. Yeah. And you can see the list of Chrome extensions, icons for those tools easily, and they're all active because I'm using them for my, let's say, lessons all the time. And you can just type down the word you look for here, and then you can just click on the option you want to open. And here, as you see, it is already added. If you want, you can, add it from your website, from your computer, let's say. And you can easily find all these tools I listed here in the presentation. Here is a Chrome extension, a shortcut for Padlet, for Grammarly, for Quillbot, for Google Translate, and for Google Keep and Thesaurus. I will try to show how you can employ them for your, let's say, writing sessions. In this way, we can engage the students and empower the students, empower the teachers as the conference, implicates. And for that, for the demo, I would like to click on this link. This link opens the work of my students. I think you can easily see the screen, right? And here are the assignments of my students. They were expected to write about someone in their families. And I provided the, let's say, instruction here. You can all adjust the settings from here. You can just maybe modify the color of the wall. You can maybe add a picture or change the size of the font. You can change the, let's say, settings for privacy. And there are so many options. You can easily manipulate and modify your work. And here you can see, let's say, a paragraph from my student. I would like to click on that paragraph. And when I click on the student's paragraph, student's work, let me just carry the button of screen sharing. Okay. Now, when I choose the paragraph, Grammarly extension starts to work. Can you see? Here is a notification, and I can see those suggestions by clicking on the button. And there are so many notifications. I guess it said 25, and it gives a score for the student work. And by correcting those mistakes, this, let's say, score will be getting higher. The student can easily just click on the option and correct the mistake, but I want my students to read that option, learn more. I want them to click on learn more choice, learn more option, and I want them to read that explanation about why they made or how can they correct that mistake. Sometimes this is, let's say, my group of beginner students. So as you guess, my beginner students cannot understand those maybe explanations, instructions in English very, let's say, clearly. And at that time, I want ask them to translate. Again, they can translate that paragraph easily by means of Google Translate extension here. I'm going to click on the extension tool, and you can easily see both English version and Turkish, let's say, translation of that paragraph. And they can read and better understand, I think. And you can see many examples about the correct use and incorrect use as well. And let me go back. I hope it's clear. And as you see, there are so many mistakes of students, and I try to group those mistakes as common mistakes. And in the lesson, I try to teach grammar or revise grammar out of those common mistakes. I try to compile those mistakes. How? Let me show how I can try those mistakes as a compile under, let's say, maybe a name under an, let's say, what can we call etiquette tag? Okay, we can take their mistakes. Categorize, yes. And let me click on the sentence. For example, here is a mistake with that sentence. In this sentence, as I've said before, my Google Translate extension is open. So when I click on a sentence, the translation program tries to translate it into Turkish. And here, you can see my keep button, my Google Keep button. By means of Google Keep button, I try to categorize this mistake. This sentence is copied to the Google Keep, and I try to use a tag, and these tags are already, let's say, written before. If you want, you can, let's say, propose another tag, you can just write another tag here like this, or you can use the ready ones as well. I created those ready ones before the presentation, and I click on article use, and I can see all the list by clicking on that option, keep the arch. I can open all the mistakes I copied from here. And these are the things I, let's say, created before as an example for you. And you can see so many mistakes taken from the students' work on that Padlet screen, right? But these mistakes are grouped under some tags. When I click on the tag itself from the list of tags here on the left, article use, I can see all mistakes related to article use taken from my students' work on Padlet screen. Have you ever used such tool before? Actually, I would like to hear some comments like this. I'm feeling like a radio programmer. Huh? Sometimes I tell my students as well, when you don't tell me anything, I feel like them. So you can see some good. And you can see the mistakes here. And these are compiled by means of Google Keep, and you can use that Google Keep as an extension, and you can create a shortcut to that application by means of Chrome extension. And using those sentences, you can revise that topic, that grammar point in the classroom. And I guess this will be more meaningful to the students because these are the mistakes they made. And maybe by means of such an explanation, they will try to not to make those mistakes. I hope so. And let me go back to the Padlet screen. As I said before, you can translate, and also you can see the options for a word. For example, you can, after you corrected the mistake, you can click on the word, and Grammarly also offers the synonyms of a word chosen. You can change maybe your wording by means of, again, Grammarly use, or also there is another way to change your phrases. If you would like to paraphrase your sentence, if you would like to write your sentence in a different way, you can also use Quillbot. I hope you heard about it. And again, here is a shortcut for that. Here is the Quillbot application, and it opens easily by means of Chrome extension again. And you can see both of those applications at the same time on a single page. And I want to copy this sentence, for example. And my students wants to write the sentence in a different way, wants to paraphrase it. Just copying that sentence and clicking on the button of paraphrasing, you can see the alternatives. And in this way, my students try to learn more vocabulary. Maybe when you see such an application, at first you will be thinking that it is just copying and pasting. It cannot contribute maybe to students' growth in writing skill. But when you try to explain how they are doing this or the rationale behind that activity and encourage them to learn more vocabulary, then it works. And they can see some ways of saying, for example, enjoying in different ways, some different sayings. And you can change the alternative if you are not happy about the alternative given here. Sorry, I can't move the toolbar of the list of, okay, here is the thing I could do. So you can rephrase. He's enjoying, you can rephrase it. And also, as you see, here is another mistake in the student's work. And Quillbot is correcting the mistakes as well by rephrasing the sentence. If you're not happy about that option, you can rephrase it and you can see another alternative. And so they can practice, they can see many sentences, they can see many words in meaningful sentences, I guess. And this is also useful for teachers. You know, while we are making exams, while we are preparing tests, we also try to find our students we are trying to test our students to find some, let's say, sentences which are closest to the one you provided, to the one you gave in the test. And by means of that, you can prepare a test. You can prepare multiple choices for your option, because when sometimes you want to, let's say, find options for mistakes, you are stuck, I think. And in this way, you can help yourself also to find other options. I'm trying to check the, let's say, chat box as well. Yeah, thank you, Esra Hocam, you are right. And yeah, I talk about Grammarly, I talk about Quillbot and Google Translate as well, and Keep too. Another thing you can find, Cambridge Dictionary. You can also find Chrome extension to the Cambridge Dictionary. In a short way, they can just they can look up the word and then they can check the meaning. For example, farmer, a student's word here. They can listen to the pronunciation and they can check the meaning. They can see further, let's say, sentences, further examples about the use of that word. And this Chrome extension, Cambridge Chrome extension, is also good in terms of storing all these words checked. And in this way, students can, let's say, compile the words. Maybe they don't know, they can compile the words they cannot pronounce maybe correctly. So it really works, it really helps them again. And let me go back to my presentation. But here you can ask me questions if you have about the use of those extensions, those applications. These are some ways of how I use. If you want, you can ask me questions here, or you can ask at the end as well.
Hocam, I guess you have 6 or so minutes, just to remind you.
Okay, just a small part left. Okay, let me go back to the presentation then. Through these tools, I think you can engage your students and empower teachers. I would like to show more examples from Padlet. And you can use Padlet for many, let's say, purposes, ranging from planning to collaborative writing. I would like to show you some examples for them. Here is a concept map for a story writing, let's say, task. And I ask my students to brainstorm about the elements of a story first. They try to get prepared for writing task by means of Padlet, and they try to, let's say, create a concept map or a mind map and a timeline maybe, or they can, let's say, create a Venn diagram as well by means of the options given here, given with the, let's say, adjustments, settings. I cannot see it now because this is taken from one of my accounts. I try to use at least 3 accounts because for each account you can have 5 free walls. So I use it very often. So I need more than 5 roles. That's why I'm using many accounts to make use of those Padlets. And each of them is for different purposes. And I would like to show some other examples as well. This is a good example of, I guess, getting prepared for a writing task. You can also use it for brainstorming, as I said. And let me show more. Yeah, I would like to show an example for a timeline. Here you can see a timeline. You can start with just writing keywords, and then you can ask your students to make sentences out of these keywords. And in the end, they can just make up a story. And one more example, maybe, just a sec, for reflection. Padlet also allows you to create comment boxes below the text. And in this way, your students and you also can provide some comments, feedback maybe. Here, I want to my students reflect on the work they did and reflect on the, let's say, process they pass through the writing process, or the writing task. And one more example here, no more, okay, because I'm trying to keep the time short, presentation short. And here are some more other useful, let's say, websites I can share with you. This website, IXL, is really useful to let your students do some writing, let's say, preparation, showing them how to write the main idea, how to write the maybe supporting ideas, how to find irrelevant sentences. There are so many things you can find. And describing words is really useful. Again, it's a really nice shortcut to write descriptive sentences, to use, to find adjectives, come up with adjectives maybe you cannot remember, or just you can use it to enrich your sentence, descriptive sentence. For example, lake. In the story, I ask my students to write a sentence using the word lake, and I want them to describe the lake, and they cannot maybe think of adjectives, but by means of that website, they can find many adjectives collocated with lake, and you can just click on sort by shortage frequency, because when you click on that option, you can see more common adjectives which are used to describe the word, the noun lake. Okay, and I'm going to stop here. I think 1 minute left. If you have further questions, you can ask me. And I can share the presentation with you as well if you write to me. My email address is hayriye@gmail. Let me write my email address from chat box. If you write to me and ask for the presentation, I can share it.
Hocam, thank you for the presentation. You really mentioned about really useful tools that we can use in the classroom. And also, it's sometimes difficult when you know the tool, but you don't know how to use it. So it was great that you supplied examples.
Thank you.
That's a comment from me. If you have questions, we can take it.
I would like to thank you as well. You're welcome.
The title of this presentation will be U.S. Embassy Regional English Language Office Panel, Programs and Opportunities. The presenters, I think, Roger, you will not present this on your own. And
I hope not.
Okay, we have other speakers, Dr. Osman Solmaz, Dr. Dan Stab, Dr. Yasemin Yelbay Yılmaz, Mr. Mustafa Güngör, Ms. Nahide Merve Hatipoğlu. They will have their presentations, and you will have 40 minutes, which is different from the other concurrent sessions. Yes, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sadat Hocam. Hello, everyone. I am Roger Cohen. I am the Regional English Language Officer at the U.S. Embassy in Ankara. And for the past several decades, the Regional English Language Office has done a huge variety of programs that help facilitate English language teaching and learning throughout Turkey. And we do all kinds of in-person and online courses for in-service and pre-service teachers. We bring American teachers to Turkey. We also have direct teaching programs for teenagers throughout the country. And we do all sorts of projects with various host institutions like universities and teacher associations like INGED and TESOL Turkey, all over Turkey. So our objective today is to, one, showcase some of the outstanding projects and people that our office works with. And we also want to encourage all participants to maybe think of their own projects that they could potentially do with Relo, and also participate in some of our courses in the future, which are all free. So I would like to start with our first speaker today. And I will introduce him. His name is Dr. Osman Solmaz, and he is an associate professor of English language teaching at the Department of Foreign Language Education at Dicle University. His research interests are centered on language teacher education, digital literacies, technology use in language teaching and learning contexts, and linguistic landscapes. And he is currently coordinating the VIP Learning Network project supported by the Regional English Language Office. So the floor is yours, Doctor. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Roger, for this introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to showcase our project. We are excited to be working with Relo and get really great support from all teams. So I would like to thank Roger, Aycan Hanım, and Özlem Hanım for their support first. This project was designed by thinking that we are in the process of moving towards living with pandemia and then getting recovered from the epidemic outbreak that we experienced. So we thought that having a virtual project as we experience this transition, that would be a good idea. And it would also be great to contribute to the professional development of teachers across the country, including regional parts, different regional parts. Specifically, we target Eastern and Southeastern part, but the project is open to everyone. In the next slide, as you will see, we are organizing this by thinking that we create a community of professional people in EFL and contributing to their professional development, and not just in-service teachers, but also pre-service teachers through a series of virtual events, which are mainly webinars that we are organizing, and then we upload those webinars to increase the permanent effect of our project. And the side goal of the project is also to create a digital network of EFL professionals consisting of teachers, teacher candidates, teacher educators, and researchers. And we try to bring an established person or speaker from abroad, and also we help them get together with Turkish scholars so that we hope that we create new avenues for international collaborations as well. And we have Dicle University as the main collaborating institution, the coordinator institution, but we get support from Bursa Uludağ University as well. So it's really nice combination of Western and Eastern side of country, and this is a really good example. I'm the project coordinator, and we have Özge Öztürk from Uludağ University. She is PhD candidate at Hamburg University currently, so she is our moderator for the events. And we have Vedat Kızıl. He is EFL teacher at the National Ministry of Education and connecting us with language teachers across the country. And we have Kardelen Aslan. She is our social media coordinator, and she is a senior EFL teacher candidate at Dicle University. I would like to show a couple of examples of what we have done so far. In the next slide, you will see the very first event, the webinar that we have organized. We had Dr. Embalia Thomas from Kansas and Dr. Amanda Yeşilbursa from Uludağ. She's also here. Hi, Amanda Hocam. Thanks for joining us today. It was really great to have them and talk about Harry Potter and how we can integrate it into the classroom. You can find the recorded version online. And after each webinar, we send certificate to each participant signed by Roger and project coordinators. So that's also a motivating factor for some of the teachers. In our next webinar, in the next slide, we had Dr. Reinhardt and Dr. Polat from University of Arizona and Bahçeşehir University. And we talked about how we can use digital games and interactive web tools to enhance language teaching pedagogies. And our next event is going to feature professionals from United Kingdom, Dr. David Reed, and we have Dr. Tuncer Can from Istanbul University. They will be sharing their experiences about using virtual reality in English language classroom. And I will be pasting the link for the next event. And if you are interested, please feel free to support us by spreading the news. And we have the recordings of these webinars, and I will be sharing the link in the chat box for those who are interested. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Roger.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Osman. And I have attended these webinars and they are really fantastic. There's hundreds of participants and they're really a lot of fun. So please spread the word. For our next speaker, we have Dr. Donald Staub, and he is an assistant professor and director of the School of Foreign Languages at Izmir Economics University. So Dr. Staub, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Roger, and thank you everybody for joining us here in this session today. It's my pleasure to be here. It's my honor to be here. I do want to start off as well thanking the Department of State and RELO for all of the support that they've given us for this particular project. The issue of micro-credentials and digital badges is something that's very near and dear to me. I feel that it's something that holds a lot of potential for all of us. And so it's something that I've been working on for a number of years. And I was very excited and pleased when I presented a kind of a seed of an idea to Roger, and he was supportive of it. Away we go. So if we can go on to the next slide, please, Roger. Here's the thing. When you go to a conference, they might give you a certificate, right? Or you attend something and they give you a paper certificate. And you take it home and you throw it under your bed, or you put it in a drawer, or you put it in a file or something like that. The problem is that it's just, it doesn't really signify what you have done to get that certificate. In most cases. And all of us are participating in professional development opportunities left and right. And we're participating in different degrees as well for each of those professional development opportunities. Some of us take that information, we go home, we apply it, and we do something with it. Others, you may sleep through the session, but we end up with the same certificate. Well, where we are going is that in all of our lives these days is that the credentialing systems are changing, whether you're talking about high school students, university students, or professionals, and things are becoming more digital. And we need a recognized credentialing system for the professional development activities that we're participating in, particularly if they are competency-based, meaning that we actually learn something, we apply it, and we reflect upon that. So the opportunities that are provided to us through graduate programs are useful, are beneficial, but it's also, number one, difficult to get into a graduate program. Number two, it's not always exactly what we need. Micro-credentials are generally shorter. what we would say granular, more specific. And so they are more useful to many, many ELT professionals. Can we go to the next line, please, Roger? Thank you. So the project that we are doing with the support of RELO is to develop 6 micro-credentials and digital badges and accompanying digital badges. And these will be for ELT leaders. Ultimately, the micro-credentialing universe or the ecosystem for ELT will not only be for leaders, but will be for everybody, curriculum specialists, assessment specialists, or instructors themselves. But this particular project, we're working through LAMSIG, which is a SIG under TESOL Turkey. And we have 5 developers who are creating these micro-credentials that are targeted toward leaders or potential leaders in the ELT field. And thankfully, the RELO has provided us 1 specialist who's providing guidance, support, advising as we go through the developmental stages of this project. When we are ready to actually make them go live, they will be very well done and very well created and ready to go. Last piece of this, please, Roger. So the primary outcomes of this project are to design and deliver these 6 micro-credentials and their accompanying digital badges. We want to increase awareness among ELT professionals for micro-credentials and digital badges. So this is opening the door. It's not just a single shot, but it's going to be a starting point. And one of the
you have about 45 seconds.
Okay. So one of the main things that we're trying to do is to create an ecosystem, which means that digital badges and micro-credentials are not only delivered, but they are accepted by other institutions. And so this is the start in that direction. So once again, thank you very much to RELO, and thanks to our developers as well who are working with us on this project. Thank you very much, Roger.
Thank you so much, Dr. Staub. So these micro-credentials should be ready soon. And we would be very happy if anyone who is interested participates. And if you'd like more information about when they're coming out, etc., please write reloturkey@state.gov. That's reloturkey@state.gov. I put it in the chat box. For our next speaker, we have Dr. Yasemin Yilmaz, who is currently working as an area expert at YÖKAK, and she is among the board members of TESOL Turkey. And she worked as visiting lecturer at, how do I pronounce that, Dr. Yilmaz? It's a university in Italy. Ca' Foscari?
Exactly, Ca' Foscari.
Ca' Foscari, okay. And she has received grants from Hacettepe University and the US Embassy in Ankara for projects to improve the quality of English teaching in Turkey. So Dr. Yilmaz, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Roger. That sounded very ambitious. Okay. Okay, I would like to start by thanking INGED for inviting us for the panel, and I congratulate them on this great event. I would like to talk about a project that I am running with the support of RELO. And here is, yeah, we can move on. Thank you, Roger. And I want to talk a little bit about where wandering can take you, and we will do the journey together today. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I will be telling you about the background of the project and the project itself, the outputs, and then we will be looking a little bit back and forward together. Next slide, please. For me, the journal looked something like this. I started wondering if we do something like this, and then we actually did the project for two cycles, and then we looked at the outputs and we learned from them and we reflected on them, and then here we are wondering again. Next slide, please. So what was I wondering about? Having completed could we move to the next slide, Roger? I'm sorry. Thank you. So having completed a couple of courses actually on the open network, I started wondering, what if we could add some local elements to these global online courses, like taking people from the same country and injecting a little bit of local context through mentors? How would that work for everyone? For the participants, for the mentors, and the program itself. So that was the wondering part. And I wrote a grant proposal, and I was very lucky because I got supported by Rilo. Next slide, please. So what does it encompass? We had 2 courses delivered by reputable institutions in the USA, namely World Learning and Iowa State University. And we reached out to 90 ELT students from 29 universities in Turkey. And we did the course project twice so far. And in the first cycle, there were 4 mentors included. And in the second cycle, 4 mentors plus 4 facilitators. And what was the input? There was a lot of mentoring work. And we conducted a student conference in the first cycle. And in the second cycle, we added weekly sessions given by local mentors to the program. And we achieved a retention rate of 90%, which is quite successful in my opinion, considering it's quite a challenge in online environments. Next slide, please. So cultivating, what did we achieve? First of all participants got reputable credentials, also in the form of digital badges. And participants could organize a student conference and present at their own student conference twice so far. And we got very lucky because last year we could attend TESOL conference online with all the participants of this program. And also we gave them a sponsorship to become members of TESOL Turkey and INGED. They received reference books. And a result of this project was also 2 publications so that we could share this experience with the wider world. One is an article that will be published in Journal of Educational Research and Practice, and the other is a book chapter that they will be coming out soon, hopefully. Next slide, please. We can quickly browse through the posters of our events. Yeah, thank you, Roger. These are the conference posters and also the input sessions provided by the mentors. And next slide, please. And this brings me to the reflection part. After completing the first cycle, we have decided to add facilitators. Facilitators are practically participants from the previous year who were also co-mentoring with us, providing some student perspective. And we are about to finish the second cycle this year, and we would like to consider inviting more trainee mentors so that we can have more people learning about this experience. About the wondering part, I'm hoping to receive some opinions and inspirations in the panel part. And going back to the first title, this is an ecosystem. I have just learned that one of our participants is actually working with Osman Solmaz Hocam. So this is this big ecosystem and everybody is affecting each other. Thank you very much for listening. You can always contact me for more information.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Yilmaz. And this project is just amazing. It's so motivating to ELT students, and we really love it, and it's a great opportunity. So thank you for talking about it today. For our next speaker, we have Mustafa Akıncı from Gazi University, and he is a lecturer and currently the Vice Director of Foreign Languages at that university. He is also a board member of INGED, and he has his MA degree in foreign language teaching and is preparing his PhD dissertation in the field of applied linguistics at Ankara University. And his research areas are socio-cultural perspectives on instructed second language acquisition, pragmatics, and materials design. And I would like to give him the floor.
So thank you very much, Roger. Thanks a lot. And I would like to welcome you all distinguished guests. And it's really a pleasure to meet you here at our international ELT conference. So I'm going to briefly, could you please move to the next slide, Roger? So thank you very much. So I'm going to give some brief information about the RELA programs at Gazi University this year. So we have two programs, English Language Specialist Program and Virtual English Language Fellow Program. So let me first give some information about the English Language Specialist Program. So could you please move to the next slide, Roger? So thank you very much. Okay, and in fact, with 5 other state universities, Bayburt University, Yozgat University, Muş Alparslan University, Hakkari University, and Samsun University, we applied for English Language Specialist Program. And in fact, the collaboration looks like a project, and Gazi University is coordinating institution. So the aim of the project is to build online testing capacity of EFL programs at participating universities. So thanks to that program, we had chance to work with Dr. Bita Gukman, and she's really very talented English language teachers and also specialists in the field of online testing. So the project covers some training sessions to test designers from participating universities, and also each university design their online English language proficiency exam, and the designers get direct feedback from Bita. Also, now we are preparing institutional manual for state universities, especially universities with limited sources. You know, because of the pandemic, we had lots of problems, and it was really very difficult to guess what's happening or what would happen next. So these days were really very challenging, and we tried to best to overcome such challenges. However, it was really a really tiring process. So we hope that that manual will provide a kind of guide for state universities, especially with limited sources in let's say in times of emergency. And also some training sessions will be organized during that project. So could you please move to the next slide, Roger? Thank you very much. So participating universities and especially test designers had the opportunity to have synchronous and asynchronous interaction with Dr. Bita Gukman. And as I mentioned before, they get direct feedback from Bita. And we believe that the project is really very valuable to help institutions from their own testing unit, or if they already have their testing unit, that will also provide kind of opportunity to develop their own unit. So these 2 points are really very important for participating universities. And could you please move to the next slide, Roger? Thank you very much. And the other program that we have at Gazi University is Virtual English Language Fellow Program. Normally that is English Language Fellow Program. However, due to the pandemic, the program could be done completely online, which is quite normal. So thanks to that program, we have a fellow, Kyle. So Kyle has 10-hour weekly online classes, and we assign Kyle to B1 level speaking classes. And this is really great opportunity for our learners, because could you please move to the next slide, by the way, sorry. And because this is maybe the first chance, this is the first time for great amount of our learners to contact with a native speaker and communicate with a native speaker. And they have a kind of worries. I mean, it's a kind of mind wall, and they believe that they can't communicate, they can't talk no matter how hard they try. And by this way, they find that they can do it. And that provides a kind of feel of success for them. And
45 seconds, please.
Very motivating. Could you please move to the next slide? And furthermore, this is also a great opportunity to our lecturers, because they have opportunity to share their classroom activities with Kyle and their ideas, their practical ideas. Kyle is really very talented and experienced in the field of teaching. So that's great opportunity for our lecturers too. And we believe that that also makes contribution to our lecturers' continuous professional development. So thank you very much. Thank you, Roger, and thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Hocam. And the English Language Fellow Program and Specialist Program are hugely popular, and we really appreciate your being a host institution. And for our next speaker, I would like to introduce Ms. Nahide Merve Hatipolu. And having studied foreign language education with a minor in German language at METU, Merve is currently teaching English at METU DF Middle School. And her interest areas in ELT include motivation, flipped teaching, dialogic teaching, and critical thinking in ELT. So, Ms. Merve, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Roger. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, and it's a really good chance for me to get some new points of views and also deliver this speech. I'll talk about my experiences in this open course, fostering student motivation and engagement. And I'll also talk about American English Live series. So next slide, please. These are the modules that SME course includes. So I believe these modules have been so helpful for me as a teacher because the topics are all meaningful and up to date. And as for motivation, it's a very multi-dimensional topic. So that was very useful to get to know different up-to-date topics, and especially project-based learning module was very useful because I had the chance to work with different colleagues from around the world, and we prepared a project for our students as teachers from different countries. Next slide, please. So every module has some routines, and it starts with a warm-up discussion about our previous knowledge, and we had the chance to share our experiences beforehand, and the required readings and videos were also very helpful because they provided us with a clear understanding of what the module is about. And afterwards, we also had some reading options. The reading options were very useful as well because we could read the other colleagues' posts and reflect on their reading options, reading reflections too. And we had a portfolio. I had the chance to get some great ideas and some applications that the other teachers are doing in their classrooms. And also we had cascading new knowledge. Next slide, please. You can see a brief part of my portfolio. So I added some activities from different teachers. And then I also added my own. Next slide, please. So this is our project that we completed with other colleagues from various countries. So it was a group project, and we used various platforms to communicate. Next slide, please. So what I liked most about this course was the collaboration with colleagues from different countries, and it was very well designed. The modules were really meaningful, and also assessment criteria. It was very valuable for me, and it was highly rewarding. Although I completed lots of assignments every week, it was really rewarding afterwards because I learned some new practices and also the other teachers' opinions. Next slide, please.
About 45 seconds, please,
Okay,
hocam.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next slide, please. It was my certificate. All right, so I also attended American English Live series. I've been attending these series for a long time, and they have been really helpful as well. Next slide, please. So it's really easy to participate. Previously, we were using Zoom platform to participate, but now we are using only live broadcasting feature of Facebook or other platforms. So it's really easy to participate. When I'm available, I basically get in, and then I take the mini quiz, and we also have some badges. Afterwards, we have the certificate if we join at least 4 of the courses. Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much. That was great. And just for everyone's knowledge, these courses are offered not just in Turkey, but all over the world to thousands of people throughout the world, and they are all free. So we would love to have you participate as well. Any presentation for the Regional English Language Office would not be a complete presentation without my two dear colleagues, Ms. Aycan Yaman and Ms. Özlem Bakir Aytaç. We will start briefly with Aycan, and she is experienced in English language teaching. She holds an MA in Human Resources Development in Education from METU, and she received several professional development certificates, including TESOL's training of trainers. And Aycan works with Turkish and American trainers, gives public presentations like this one to national and international audiences. So please go ahead, Aycan.
Thank you, Roger. As we can go on to the next slide. As Roger mentioned, we do many activities to support English teaching and improve the quality of English teaching in Turkey. And we have several stakeholders, such as university teachers, students, MEB, as well as the teaching organizations like INGED and TESOL Turkey. We work with publishers, administrators, and parents, especially with the access program that we do with high school kids. Next slide, please. Yes, fellows and specialists. Mustafa Akın hocam already talked about this a little bit, but I would like to give some information. The ELT specialist program is a program where, like our grantees talked about, they come to work on several projects, and the time depends on the project itself, or they could come here to do, in the good old days, face-to-face conference attendance and doing plenaries and workshops. So that program is virtually continuing right now, and hopefully face-to-face again in the future. So if you're interested in this program, please email us at turkey@state.gov. The fellow program is a full 10-month academic year teaching position, where the fellow comes here from the United States and teaches at prep schools currently, working with learners of English. They are quite experienced, and they hold MAs most of the time, and sometimes PhDs. So if you're interested if your institution is interested in hosting a fellow, again, please let us know. As we have here our dear grantees, they talked about the projects that they're doing. So we offer grants to support your projects that you are reaching out to English teaching academia and English teaching world to improve the quality of teaching English in Turkey. As we mentioned, there are several projects. If you have project ideas, please do not hesitate to contact us. And also we have summer institutes, which are currently on hold right now, but hopefully we will start again, where we bring in 2 specialists to work in a different city for 10 days. So that's a great project, again, open to English teachers in different cities. Next slide, please. Also, we have free online resources at our website, americanenglish.state.gov. This website offers many wonderful resources to both learners and teachers, And also it offers more information about the online programs, which my dear colleague Özlem will be talking about in a minute. And from here, you can also access the Forum magazine, which I am sure most of you are familiar with. The Forum magazine is a magazine written by teachers around the world, for teachers around the world. And it consists of, different classroom practice articles. And it comes out quarterly every year. And you can reach them at the same americanenglish.state.gov address. And it goes back to now almost 60 years. So it's a wonderful resource for you all. Thank you, and I will hand it over to my colleague.
Great. So our new colleague, she just started with us a few months ago, is Özlem Bakir Aytaç, and she holds a BS in engineering, MS in quality systems management, and MA in English language teaching. And she also completed the Teaching English as a Foreign Language program at Georgetown University. And she has worked at both US and Turkish teaching institutions and corporations for over a decade. So please take it away, Özlem.
Hello, everyone. This is Özlem Bakir Aytaç. I work with Roger and Ercan in the Regional English Language Office at the United States Embassy, Ankara, and it's a great pleasure for me. In the team, mainly I handle the online portions of the RELO programs, and the biggest one that we call this OPEN, the Online Professional English Network Program, which offers virtual learning opportunities to foreign English language educators, professionals, and learners worldwide. Open promotes mutual exchange of culture and provides free access to teaching and learning materials, which can be reused, adapted, and shared with others. Open professional development opportunities are developed by US academic institutions and experts in the field of teaching English to speakers of other languages. Next slide, please. Thank you. And there are three main and important programs under the Open umbrella. Actually, Ms. Merve Hatipoğlu shortly mentioned about her experiences, and also Yasemin Yelbay Hocam talk about her experiences on these programs as well. So I just want to mention the main differences of these programs. The first one is webinars. Currently, we are running the American English webinars series 12, and it's about to be ended in 2 weeks, but afterwards there will be another webinars under the American English webinar series, and there are unlimited participants, and each session takes 1 hour. There are live events, and if you attend 4 out of 6 sessions, you can get a digital badge, which you can publish or present it in your CV or your LinkedIn profile as well. So it's a great for recognition. The other two programs are MOOCs and GOCs. MOOC stands for Massive Online Open Courses. The main difference of these two programs are the numbers of the participants, the length of the course, and the way that it's delivered to you. While you can attend the MOOCs anytime when it's offered during the registration and period, you can participate at any time, and you can start and finish it with your own pace. And if you get a 70% or higher score, you will be qualified for the digital badge as well. While MOOCs are available most of the time, GOCs, global online courses, are limited with 25 participants. They are 8-week instructed courses. And of course, you can still get a digital badge if you're going to, get 70% of higher score of this course. So these are the main programs under the Open umbrella. And but besides Open, we do have different resources. The other one is called americanenglish.state.gov. And you can get different resources, different online resources, which you can use to develop yourself professionally and personally, as well as you can use it in your classroom with your students. So next slide, please. Yeah, and we do have two different Facebook pages. The first one is American English at state.gov. You can find all relevant and related information in regards to the teaching English to others in a foreign language settings. So besides all these different programs, you can always reach us and you can contact with us through the reloturkey@state.gov. And we are happy to answer your questions and help you out in any ways that we can do. Also, please stay in tune for the monthly Relo newsletter. We try to include all different learning materials and online resources. And if you would like to receive this Relo newsletter, please write us and we can add your email into our distribution list as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Özlem. That was beautiful. And I put the email address and the website for grant opportunities and more information about our office in the chat box. I believe we are out of time, but if it's okay with Sadat Bey, we can stick around for a few minutes if anyone has any question at all.
Yes, Roger, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this organized presentation and for this punctual presentation. And you did the moderation and it was, you are quite helpful to me. Thank you so much. And yes, do we have any questions about the programs, about the projects? We still have time. We have time for lunch, by the way.
If no one has any questions, feel free to write reloturkey@state.gov.
Mm-hmm.
And also, coincidentally, and to show you how many great things we do, not only did all of the speakers on our panel do a great project, but also the host of this Zoom room, Mr. Sedat Akayolu, is also a recipient of a Relo project. He is currently doing an outstanding exchange program with teachers in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always say that I first met Relo in 2006, 13 years ago, and since then I received grants. I was supported financially for the presentations, conferences in the United States, and now we are carrying out a project on social justice with my friends, with my colleagues from University of Texas, San Antonio, and also Sam Houston State University, and I really worked in collaboration with this nice group of people. Thank you so much, by the way.
And thank you, Doctor. And it's been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much to all of our panelists. Mm-hmm. And thank you to all the participants. We hope to see you again somewhere. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much.